don't know what the laws are in Georgia, but here in Pennsylvania, they have to disclose right up front that it is a recorded call.
Hi, my name is Abahi, and I am a claims adjuster. If I can help you make money in this very lucrative industry, would you let me? In today's video, we're going to talk to Scott Stewart, a public adjuster. He had no experience when he started back in 2022, but now he feels like he is in his prime. He's a real estate investor who has added public adjusting to his career. So stay tuned. This is a great conversation on how he got started.
No, I'm not an agent. I've always been an investor. I have considered doing my agency,
Okay.
but I don't know. Something always held me back from that. I just I got in about 15 years ago by buying some actually distressed properties is how I got into it.
Okay.
I used to buy bank foreclosed properties and we would rehab them and flip them. And that was a very interesting time in my life. But I'm happy to say that's pretty much over. In fact, I'm selling one of my last duplexes that I bought 15 years ago and have been landlording ever since. But yeah, no, it's a little departure from that, but it sure gave me a lot of background for what we're doing now today.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So how did you get into public adjusting?
By accident. It was an accidental discovery. Honestly, I was just kind of randomly on ZipRecruiter and just seeing what's out there because you get it to an age and stage in life that sometimes you're just ready to kind of close one chapter and open a new one. And I guess that's where I was at a year or so ago, year and a half ago. And I just was just looking at ZipRecruiter to see what's out there and something I could just do to fill in some extra time that I have. And there it was. I saw the ad, a Metro Public Adjustment ad, and I knew nothing, like many people who start work here. I
Yeah.
knew nothing about public adjusting at all. And I answered the ad, and it happened to be with my sponsor and mentor and trainer that we have today at Metro, and that's what it was. I just responded to the ad.
So what won you over? What was it about it that you just, said, wow, this is cool?
I think what appealed to me was the fact that it was not a employer-employee relationship. It was everybody at Metro is an independent contractor.
Right.
Therefore, they're free to take this at the pace they want to take it. They don't have they don't have the type of restrictions and constraints and rules really of having a boss that they report to, having a quota over their head, having deadlines to meet, and that sort of thing. I don't know. I've just always been a bit more free spirit in that, and they, I just sometimes the whole corporate America uh, modus operandi and way it works is not right for everybody. And I guess I just felt like it wasn't the right thing for me, at least at my age and stage. I mean, I'd done 22 years of corporate America, and
Okay.
I'm at the point in my life where what I don't know if I can just jump right back into that again, and
I speak to, I have several people that want to get into my channel. Is really was all started out about becoming a licensed adjuster.
Mhm.
At the time, I mean, they only mentioned in the course about public adjusting, there may be like a blurb. I mean, like a one-liner, especially here in Georgia. I mean, the rest of it, was mostly the laws, fraud versus the types of insurance companies. But then when it came down to public adjustment, it was such a small blurb, you would think it really wasn't important. Then what my journey was that it was so hard to get into insurance adjusting because you had to have experience to get experience. And it was like kind of like the chicken and the egg, like, well, which one comes first? How do I get the egg without the chicken, or how do I get the experience without the job? How do I get the
Right.
job without the experience? But so going along those lines, when I did have an opportunity to work, they wanted you working away from home, and it would be 7 days a week, 12-hour days.
Oh,
And
come on.
when you look at like your check, honestly, no matter how much it is, you honestly have to say, I've sold myself, like almost like a sex worker, almost like just imagine selling yourself for $5,000 a week. And you're like, you know what, that's not even enough for half of my life. And so I was very attracted to the fact that there was flexibility. I mean, I worked in overseas and still take phone calls, still meet with people. I mean, you know, my friends be like, "Oh, you work all the time." And it's like, I mean, hey, a lion hunts every single day, you know, and so that's kind of what I go on. And I do like the flexibility. The last corporate job that I actually tried to attain was probably like 2019-ish or maybe 2020. And I remember starting on Monday. And okay, the first day I'm like sitting there, I'm looking at the exit signs. I'm like, man, this is what jail must feel like. Like you can't leave, you can't do anything. And then I started to have an issue because I'm like, I don't know, like, I don't understand why I have this 1 hour break and I have to take it all together. I can't take like 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. But long story short, because it was a short time I worked there, I started on Monday, I was fired by Wednesday. It's just like you said, so when you meet somebody who hasn't heard about public adjusting, like what do you say to them?
Well, usually my comment with people, with homeowners or business owners that own real property, is basically, have you ever heard of a public adjuster?
Right.
And invariably, I would say 9.8 times out of 10, it's no, I've never heard of it before. And then it's, well, have you heard of an insurance adjuster? Oh yeah, I've heard of an insurance adjuster. And then it's what's your understanding of an insurance adjuster? Well, they help people with claims or with giving estimates on claims based on damage and so on and so forth. I said, well, yeah, exactly. So a public adjuster is like that. It's very similar to that. But it's just the other side of the coin. You've got a head and you've got a tail, right? You've got a yin and a yang. And it's about where the allegiances are. So we have similar roles and we do similar adjusting type activities, but invariably most people they only have in their radar and in their consciousness an insurance adjuster, and that is all of those loyalties and allegiances are to their employer, okay, where their paycheck comes from, the insurance company. But nobody seems to realize that unless they hire an attorney to represent them, they have no idea that they're on their own. They're on an island when it comes to self-representation on a claim. And and sadly, I think as you know so well, that the insurance companies, as much as they advertise and try to brand themselves as being, we're out here for you, we're going to help you, we have your interests at heart, at the end of the day, they really don't. And it is about it, is it about dollars and cents? Yeah, probably. But really, the insurance companies are making what they make. And I think the term I hear thrown around a lot is $65 billion a year or something like that in profits. And multi-million-dollar bonuses and awards to senior executives and CEOs of insurance companies. Where does that come from? Where does it come from? It's coming from either denial of claims or diminishing the value of claims.
Right.
And that's where it's coming from. So it just seems sad that a lot of people don't understand what a public adjuster is, that the public adjuster is kind of like it's your own personal attorney in your back pocket, but better than an attorney, because an attorney is going to want a retainer up front. They're going to want an exorbitant, ridiculous hourly wage. And they're going to want a chunk of the settlement at the end of the day, and not of the net settlement, but of the gross settlement amount. They're going to want some kind of a percentage. Whereas on a public adjuster, something like what we do, first of all, we're not going to need a retainer up front. Mm-hmm. Secondly, we're not going to be charging hourly fees. Mm-hmm. Thirdly, we're not going to, rarely is the case ever go to a court of law, in which case we'll provide those attorneys on our client or our policyholder's behalf. But fourthly, we're only paid contingent. So at the very, very back end of the process, when the settlement is reached, but then we're not going to, unlike an attorney again, we were not going to take a part of that gross settlement. We're going to take only the net settlement. So after the deductible has been taken out, after the depreciation has been subtracted, then we get paid. We take a portion of that payment. So there's really no risk. There's no risk to policyholders to look at public adjusters, and yet there's so much value and so much benefit, and they have so much to gain.
Right,
So I guess a large part of our job is, we're kind of evangelists in a way. We've got to evangelize what we do.
right.
And that's, I think there's some massive opportunities there. And Abahi, I really support you in your efforts to, get this awareness out through your YouTube channels, through your social media. I mean, I look to you as like a teacher to teach, people like me how to do what you do so we can get that message out there to people. I think
Yeah.
it's really, really valuable and important.
Right. I think the education, the evangelizing for helping people understand that ace in the back pocket. Because when I was a roofer, we were getting not well, some of the claims. I think the part that surprised me the most was not the fact that claims were being denied, although, we did get that, and then we wouldn't know what to tell a homeowner. It would just be like, oh, you want to go cash? And it was like,
Mm.
for me, that was breaking the promise that I initially set up to tell the homeowner. And now that it's denied, guess what? Now there's absolutely no coverage on it, or they could potentially pull coverage for it. So it wasn't even so much the denials we were getting, it was the fact that the ones that we were getting paid out on, and I'm a roofer, so I was making off, the commission. It was
Mhm.
that, hey, instead of, I was getting an average of 7 line items per roof. And when I saw, oh, for that same type of damage, it should be 23 to 30.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, wait a minute, they've been robbing me. I mean, forget
Oh, wow. Yeah.
about the homeowners. I've been being robbed. They've
Yeah.
been changing me. And it was those two sides, the A and B side that we show, that was really like, oh, I'm like, no, I have to fight this. And I tell people that I'm like Robin Hood. I take from the rich and I give to the poor. Because when you look at, if you don't have $1 billion, I'm sorry, you know what I mean? They're not looking at you like anything, and they take all of that money. And as Warren Buffett said, they just use it to invest. I mean, they use your money to make more money. And so then people get hurt in the end. And I was talking to a homeowner. She actually ends up living, she lives 2 minutes away from me. I can actually walk to her house. I'm going to go there tomorrow to inspect it. We're virtual, but it's like, hey, why not get out the house for, a 2-minute drive? Why not? Right. But she was like, she's just like, she didn't understand. She said, I've been paying them. I just don't understand why they would help me. And I had to cut her off. I had to say, they're not on your side. I don't care what the jingles say. They're not there for you. So why would they ever, their job is to protect the money. Why would they help you? If that
Mm.
means that they would give you money, that would be like them fighting against themselves.
Yeah,
So
that's
like,
exactly it. Yeah.
and my mom, she has several sub pump issues. I didn't realize it until after. But she always had to get the handyman, or the guy around the corner who was only good for a day's worth of work, because then he would disappear for a couple days. To try to do these repairs. And she's a single mom, and I just feel like, man, if we had known, maybe we could have had carpet in our playroom again. But we just had to go without the carpet in the playroom and stuff like that. So that was something that really resonated with me from what you're saying about just how we need to get the advocacy out there. And Metro colors are green, so it's like, yeah, I felt definitely like a Robin Hood. I'm just missing the hat
Yeah.
with the feathers on it. So for you, like how do you balance working Metro and the other things and other projects that you have going on?
Well, it didn't start out so heavily involved in Metro at first. And, when I first answered that ad that I was referring to earlier about a year or so ago and knew nothing about Metro, well, the company does put out some really, really fantastic promos to get people onboarded and jump started in this process as quickly as possible. And they're fantastic. And I really appreciate and respect where the leaders in this company are going when they're trying to get people invested really fast. But there's a segment of the people who do respond to the Metro ad and who are interested in it, who, like me, are either working somewhere else or they have other ventures or other businesses they're doing. And you just can't just drop all of this over here to invest in this kind of this unknown over here that you don't days ago knew nothing about.
Right.
So for me, it was a gradual process. I've been here about a year, and I would say the first 2, 3, 4 months, I was just kind of learning this whole new language and this whole new type of processes and this whole insurance speak.
Sure.
it has its own language, and just reading all the materials and trying to absorb as much as possible, because there is a lot initially. And even though I was like, saw myself as kind of a real estate guy, and I'd bought and I flipped houses and I'd rehabbed, and always been at that end of it, um, I just didn't know what I didn't know. And there's a lot to insurance. And, a company like this, you get with a good public adjusting company that's going to provide you with the tools and the resources and just the suite of software that we use here. I mean, we haven't even gone into that at all. I mean, some of the things that you get when you get with a company the size of the one that we're in right now is you get what I like to say is a business in a box,
Mhm.
because it comes complete with not only an executive team with great vision and with a lot of support for new people, but it comes with a methodology that provides with right away some great onboarding tools and resources and training to help the uninitiated, like people like myself, get into it as quickly as possible. And it provides a suite of, not like a whole bunch of software and things you've never heard of that you've got to download, install on your computer. No, it comes complete with software that's basically known by most people, certainly in corporate America. It's kind of ubiquitous software, and it's software we've all heard of, like Calendly, for example. We've all heard of ZipRecruiter. We've all heard of Zoom.
Yeah.
We're on right now. We've all heard of, or most of us have heard of, DocuSign, and that's a virtually indispensable product we can't work without anymore.
Right.
And there's just between those and it's nothing we need to download. It's nothing we even need to pay for.
Right.
It's all free software,
Right.
and it's all provided for us. And so again, it's that business in a box type of mentality that's already been thought through. Others have done it before us. So it's like when you first start off in this business, you don't need to reinvent the wheel,
Right.
or invent the wheel or any of those things. It's all done for you. You just kind of have to plug first your belief system into it,
Mhm.
and you have to apply some time into this and some desire. And before long, you just kind of get rolling with the system. And there's oodles of training. And I mean, almost every day of the week, there's some sort of a seminar you can hop onto, or not. Again, you're not an employee, you're not required to, nobody's putting anything over your head to do this. It's just your own desire. And
Yeah.
you join into this stuff.
Yes, it was because of my YouTube channel that people were asking, a lot of people in Florida, especially, they were asking, can you do a video on public adjusting? Can you do a video? Can you do a video? Can you do a video? And I was like, well, I mean, I guess I could, because it's a subject and people are requesting it. And so then when I went to a PIP again, and I was just like, oh yeah, I forgot all about how great this is. And then that's when it was like 9 months later that I was like, took off, and it was just pouring gasoline on that fire, to where I guess, it needed some time to marinate and click. And I was just off to the races when it came to, building my business. And for me too, Scott, it was like, I couldn't work for real 9 to 5, because I have a bit of power inside myself where I like to be in control. One of the first things I did not like about I worked at Toys R Us when I left college in the warehouse. And I was a supervisor, and they gave me the job. It was so good. They gave me the job before I left college. But when I got there, I was like ready to make changes. I'm ready to say, oh, can we improve this? Can we improve that? And another guy in the college program, he had been there maybe about 2 years before I started. He was like, this is pretty much a well-oiled machine. You just got to keep it running. And my light felt like it dimmed a lot there. Because
Yeah, I can see that.
to have, I really need to have input and things of that nature, but I didn't want to be, because my dad owned his own business, and I really didn't like the ups and downs that he had. He lost friends. One of his business partners ended up stealing the business right from underneath him.
Oh my God.
So, having a business on my own just looks like the worst thing in the world. But what I feel like we have, business in the box, almost like a franchise style, where you know, the business is already established. Like you said, they've already worked out the recipe. They can deliver the tools to you. You have people that you can call on when you need help. And basically, you know, you're on your own, but you're not alone. You know what I mean? It's that type of, it's that, like it's taking a free throw shot. Like, okay, it's on me, but I have a team here to be able to support me, encourage me. And like with the conventions and things of that nature, the things you learn, getting to network with other people from other states, just thinking about the state laws that happen all over the place, it would be so much for one person to undertake. It would be so overwhelming. So that's what I really also enjoy about the business too.
Yeah, you're so right about that. Ibahay. And just, you know, how about this fact alone is that here you are, you know, you're broadcasting from Georgia,
Yeah.
and I'm up just outside of Philly in Pennsylvania. And, you know, we can get our public adjusting licenses in our respective states, in our home states, which is all great. But we don't need to, you know, one of the things I appreciated was I don't even know where to begin. Like, how do I get this license? I didn't have to worry about that
Right.
because, you know, a company like this has its own licensing department. And with just a simple sending a 3-sentence email to our licensing department, we get back a full page on here's all the steps you need to do. Here are all the forms. We've already got your state government's forms all set up for you.
Right.
You just fill in these forms, sign it. You don't even have to go to a notary's office to get it notarized. We have our own notaries, which will countersign that signature for you. They'll submit all the paperwork. You just give them, you know, a little, you know, your credit card endorsement or whatever to pay whatever the state fee is in your state. And within 2 to 3 weeks, you're licensed. I mean, it's just like that. And of course, you've passed your exam and everything, but it's just the paper, the bureaucratic process. It's all removed from us,
Yeah.
and we don't need to worry about that. And what is so cool is that, I mean, I didn't even realize this until I was actually a couple of months into the company, was that as soon as I'm licensed in my home state, you can then immediately get reciprocal privileges in neighboring states.
Yes.
And so, I mean, you know, in under a year now, I find myself licensed in 5 states, and I can increase that if I wish, just by paying whatever the state fee is. But I've got somebody managing that process for me. But not only that, they're also managing things like continuing education credits and other things we need to for the continuity of our licenses. And the company's providing all of that for us. It's almost pushing it at us in a way that we can opt in or opt out to any of those courses, or, you know, any of that as we need to and when we need to. So, I mean, when you start removing all those types of sort of routine, mundane, administrative tasks that you can lose track of so easily when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a business person, to the point where you could be at risk of your license elapsing and not even realizing it, just because you're so busy with your day-to-day grind of everything. When all that's taken away from you, now your headspace is clear to focus on business development and to focus on the things that we're inherently good at, not all that other crap. So, you know what I'm saying about running a business? When all that's removed from you, it's incredibly liberating. And that's another thing, you know, coming back to, I guess, your question about what I really like about this type of environment and the freedom that it affords us.
Any final words, any advice to anybody wanting to get into the industry?
Well, I guess my final words would be, you know, this has been a tremendously rewarding journey. You know, I haven't been at it a long time, but I can't imagine any other way I could have literally started from quite literally zero knowledge of this industry, and without any investment or upfront capital that I needed, or bankers that I need to speak with, or any business plan I needed to create. I didn't need to sell this to anyone except sell it to myself and sell the belief system on myself. I don't think frankly, there's no looking back. I don't think there's a better, easier way to transform yourself from whatever your job situation is, or whatever circumstance you are in life. If you're not happy, or maybe you've had you've always dreamt of starting your own thing, but just were never really sure how to, and just needed a little nudge or something. Um, that's really all you need in this business, because where we are, we're very, very fortunate and very blessed to have found the company we work with, and that it's provided all of this for us.
I know.
Is is wonderful. I guess that's what I want to say is, guys, Abahi's really onto something great here, and I am so glad to have met you and found this company. But I think you're onto something real good here, Abahi. And keep those ads out there, and we'll just maybe we'll figure out some way where we can evangelize this and put it on steroids
I know,
somehow.
right? That's what keeps me up at night. How to really
Yeah.
how to really get it out there and things of that nature. But that's awesome, Scott. Thank you so much for joining me, taking time out your busy day to be able to help me evangelize a little bit here. And I think I agree 100% with you. You know, just believe in taking the time, no additional funds needed, which is, it's like, for me, this is one of the best opportunities. To me, I equate it to the gold rush. Like, if you were the first to hear about the San Francisco gold rush, you know, that's to me what this business is like, because it's just like it spurs like wildfire, and we get to help people, and
Mhm.
it's just such a cool learning experience for me. So I appreciate your time, Scott. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the call in a few, because I'll be on there.
Okay.
Good.
Thanks very much, Abahi.
All right, thank you,
Yeah,
Scott. Have
bye.
a good day. Bye. Again, my name is Abahi, and I am a claims adjuster. My goal of this video was to help educate you. If you liked what you heard and liked what you saw, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. And if we've really been helping you over the years, leave a review for us on Google, on our Google My Business page at majoradjusters.com. The link will be in the description. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time to answer every single comment, so go to Google if you have a good question. We'll answer it there.